Okay, so as you can see, I'm at my workstation at home. Thankfully, I don't have to do enormous amounts here at the desk, being a physiotherapist and Pilates instructor. However, I do need to edit these videos, so I do spend a little bit of time at the desk. So I have to set myself up nicely. Here is our kitchen table, as you can see, and a dining chair. And now there are a few little modifications that you can make to make all of this a little bit more comfortable and less likely to give you any problems around the back. So I'm sitting here on an 8-degree wedge. You can get various different degrees of these wedges, but what they do is they ensure that your knees are slightly lower than your hips sitting at the desk. So that is something that is very important, so we don't lock up through the hamstrings at the back here, and deactivate the glutes. So your feet should be flat on the floor and your knees should be slightly lower than your hips. So an 8-degree wedge is something that you can have a little play with. Now, I do have a lumbar support here, but I'll be teaching you in a little bit that it's not always good to be leaning back into the lumbar support. So you may have one, and it's something good to relax into, and some little bit of support there through the lumbar area. But it's not essential, because I would like you to be spending as much time as possible actually sitting upright and using those postural muscles. What I have here with my laptop, because a lot of you are going to be using a laptop, is it's standing up on a laptop riser. Now you can type that into any Google search and find various pieces of equipment here. So this is your laptop riser. I will give you a link to the one that I like to use. And that will lift the screen up to eye height. Now it's not perfect. I'm sure we can get some that are absolutely, the middle of the screen is absolutely level with my eyes. But I believe this is not too bad a setup as far as your eyes are concerned. It's lifting it up at least from laptop level anyway. Separate keyboard and mouse. Now, maybe this is a little bit more to do with shoulders, arms, wrists, RSI type thing. So if you want to try and make the wrists and elbows and shoulders and neck a little bit more comfortable, then a separate keyboard, especially if you're going to rise up the laptop. You're going to need that separate keyboard there. Because we don't want to be reaching out here, and that's not a comfortable or efficient position for the body to stay in. Now then, anyone with wrists and elbow problems, if that's why you're looking at it, you might want to bring that keyboard down here onto the knees. Ideally, we want the wrist lower than the elbow. We want the elbow directly beneath the shoulder and the wrist a little bit lower than the elbow. So as you can see here, as long as I sit forward a little bit, my elbow is beneath my shoulder, but my hands are up here on the desk. Now, if you have a chair that goes up and down, you may want to bring your chair up. You may want to bring it in a little bit, and that would mean that the wrist is below the elbow. So give it a try here. If you need to, bring it down. Here, you need to be a bit of a touch typer there, otherwise you're going to get neck problems for looking down. Or you get a chair that can go up and down. You may want to put another cushion on the chair. You may then need to put one underneath your feet as well, just to make sure that the feet raise up a little bit. So play around with those yourself. Obviously the separate mouse as well. I have known people that need to use the mouse in the other hand or be able to swap round because of RSI symptoms around the wrist and the hand. That is something that is possible, and there are various different types of mouse on the market. Joystick, things like that, that can be a little bit better around the wrist and the elbow. Now, something that I haven't got here is a little gel patch there that you can rest the wrists on while you type, and the same around the mouse as well, a little gel patch there around the mouse. But that is enough for equipment. Last little thing, you have these little things that go into the USB. I'm going to bring that a little bit closer. Here we go. And that will just plug into the USB port, and that keyboard and that mouse will just work. So you plug that in and suddenly you are able just to type. It's quite amazing. For anyone who's not so techie as me, that's something that I find quite good. I don't have to go through a setup process. Always a good thing. So let's just think a little bit about your posture in this position. Feet flat on the floor, hip width apart, and then you want to make sure that the weight is going directly down through your sitting bones. If you don't know where your sitting bones are, then sit on your hands. You'll find those bony bits there, and then you can roll backwards and forwards with the pelvis here. Settle somewhere in between. Scoop in a little bit with that lower tummy, but you should generally feel quite relaxed in that position. The shoulders are directly above the hips. You want to think about tucking through the chin a little bit, not poking the chin forwards here, tucking through and coming up straight. You want a tiny little bit of tension between the shoulder blades here, just pulling the shoulders back very slightly, just enough to open out the front of the chest. And there we go, a good position to sit and work in, not for too many hours, give yourself a break, obviously getting up as often as possible, but that is your setup at home, hopefully quite inexpensive, and it's going to do you well for the years to come.